YouTube? Joyboy here. So today I want to talk about, wait for it, the return of Mother Carmel. Now, before you guys leave this video, you click dislike and decide that this dude is batshit crazy. Hear me out, because this might actually blow your mind. I see no way you cannot leave this video believing in, even if you don't believe in the idea, believing in its possibility. And so before we get in this video, I want to thank Grissy for commenting this a couple days ago in a previous video. Without this, I don't think that I would have connected the dots and been able to explain it to you guys. But let's begin, and let's start off here. I believe Mother Carmel to be a very important plot point for Whole Cake Island. And the main reason is that it's unresolved. It's incredibly important to Big Mom, and I believe that she is currently under the impression that Mother Carmel may someday return. But of course she probably won't return, because it seems incredibly likely Big Mom ate her, so she's dead. But even specifically learning what had occurred could be very important. And so what I do in order to make theories is I look back onto previous chapters and most recently released chapters, and I try and find things that are unexplained. And so there's a decent number of these things, but one in which I have not talked about in many chapters dates all the way back to the Seducing Woods. When the Straw Hats first arrived at the bank of the southwestern coast of Whole Cake Island near the Seducing Woods, Luffy thought that he saw Pudding and Sanji. But when they actually left their ship and went there, Pudding was gone and Pudding never reappeared. However, they did see Sanji again, and Sanji lured them into the Seducing Woods. But of course, this was not Sanji, this was some sort of fake. This Sanji that we met, the reason why he looked like Sanji is to this day unexplained. At least it's unexplained officially. I actually think that we can deduce what was going on here, and the clue comes from Charlotte Brûlée and her abilities, as well as the animals that she transformed to look like people. Remember in the Seducing Woods when Luffy started rounding up all the animals that Brûlée had transformed, he rounded up some Sanjis, and those Sanjis, which Brûlée using her mirror abilities had transformed, looked like Sanji, just the same as the Sanji which lured them into the forest initially. And so what's actually been explicitly stated is that Brûlée using her mirrored abilities can look like someone but as their mirrored reflection. But what has not been explicitly stated is that this is only true when Brûlée uses this ability on herself. When she uses it on other creatures or other people, then it comes out looking correct. So I really think it's safe to say that the Sanji that they initially saw on the coast was either Randolph or the Crane or Cracker, transformed to look like Sanji. And why this is curious to me is that Oda has yet to specifically tell us this. You can only deduce it by connecting some pieces together. It's as though Oda has something to hide, or he plans on revealing this facet of Brûlée's powers in the future. You should see where I'm going with this. Using Brûlée's powers, Mother Carmel can visit Whole Cake Island again. Or at the very least, they can convince the idiotic Big Mom that that is the case. And oh boy guys, the possibilities. This would allow for so many things to happen that previously many of you think is impossible. But here's where it kind of gets difficult to explain, because this particular connection is not based off of anything, it's just really cool. So in order to convince you of this idea, aside from if you already subscribe to many of my ideas, then I would need to give you a reason why you should believe this. And really, in order to do that, I would need to do a complete Whole Cake Island theory, so as to explain why I really believe in this idea. And so if you are in any way triggered by the thought that Big Mom may not end up being an enemy of the Straw Hats by the conclusion of Whole Cake Island, feel free to leave this video, because at this point, I'm only going to say things that are going to irritate you. But most of this stuff won't be new. In fact, this is essentially what I speculated at the very beginning of Whole Cake Island. But I don't think that, even though you may have heard this in the past, people still understand why it is that I believe it. And we'll tie it together with new revelations and this particular observation. And I honestly do not care whether I'm right or wrong. The purpose of a theory is not always to be right. I merely get irritated when people don't understand why it is that I believe that it's possible. And so, as many of you guys will know, I expect that at some point in this arc, Big Mom will go on a rage. When exactly this will happen is uncertain. But you know, I've had some time to think after 869 dropped, and I said in my first reaction that it seemed likely that the box, as it's falling off Dufeld, sort of opened it and then it got tossed off the edge, that it would land on the ground and probably explode, potentially taking out the castle. This seems overwhelmingly likely to me. First of all, because Dufeld did in fact open up the box, at least partially, loosened it, and it's not going to do nothing when it lands, right? Even if the box breaks, the explosives are still in there, so they would probably go off. So at some point, the Tamate Bako box seems likely to go off unless somebody miraculously catches it. And assuming this isn't intended to be some sort of gigantic gag troll moment from Oda, then the target of the explosion is likely to be the castle itself, which if the castle starts tipping over, the calamity will rain down on Totlin. And we've also been led to believe that Totlin and her island is very important to Big Mom, would just be another reason why rage might overcome her. Because frankly, explicitly at this point, we do not know what actually causes her rage aside from its association with food. And if we use the example, the first example that we can see of this from her past, it wasn't just her craving food which inspired her rage. It also was directly related to her mindset. After several days of essentially starving herself, eventually she broke. So I honestly think the madder Big Mom gets, the more probable it is that she has some sort of rage. And I honestly think that Oda specifically foreshadowed her rage at the very beginning of this arc so that it would happen again at some point in time. And so if the rage actually happens, which again I know that at this point is speculative, but I highly believe in the idea that it will happen. If it does in fact happen, Big Mom will become a danger to everyone, right? And so this could lead into a situation where the Straw Hats have an actual possibility of escaping and or winning. People are asking me, where is the hope after this last chapter? What is it that we can latch onto and believe into for these Straw Hats not dying? This is it. This would be their ticket out of Whole Cake Island. But again, as I argued in the past, if Big Mom is on the rampage, the citizens are injured and dying, and Big Mom is chasing after them, killing people left and right. The Big Mom pirates are trying to stop her, but are not successful because Big Mom is so overpowered. I don't think that the Straw Hats, specifically Luffy, Sanji, Chopper, Nami, are capable of walking away from that. I think that their characters are honor-bound to help. And so in the act of helping, regardless of what they have already done to Big Mom specifically, they will have done a favor to the Big Mom pirates. Perhaps not Big Mom herself because she doesn't remember what she does in her rages, but her family will in some way be indebted to the Straw Hats. And this would also align really well with Peckham's motivation, which is he wants Big Mom to be okay and he also wants the Straw Hats to be okay. And then in addition to this, it seems like Pudding is working in that direction as well. And I haven't even mentioned the possibility that they are in some way or another able to spot and or locate the problem behind Big Mom's rages and work towards some kind of solution for that. But many people still don't understand why it is that I like this possibility so much, and a lot of it has to do with understanding how a story is written. And so, first of all, a lot of people want to deny the possibility that Big Mom ends up helping the Straw Hats at some point in time, but Oda has specifically foreshadowed it. Way back in Thriller Bark with Lola, Lola said that her mama would help them. Why did Oda write that into the story? He created the possibility, I didn't create it. The only logical answer to this is that he wanted to create confusion amidst the readers of One Piece. Basically, wanted it to be uncertain as to Big Mom's role in the future of this story. But it's very curious, this being the only real possibility for why Oda would have done this, he failed completely, because at no point in time, aside from when Lola initially revealed this, has he ever tried to convince us of this possibility. Before it was even confirmed that Big Mom was in fact Lola's mother, Big Mom was already revealed by Oda to essentially be eating people. From a writer's perspective, if you're going to create two possibilities, on one hand, this main villain is going to be a friend, on the other hand, this main villain is going to stay an enemy, you actually have to sell one or the other so that you can actually create confusion. But if Big Mom is truly going to be an enemy, there's only been one possibility that has actually been sold at any point in time, and that's that she's going to be evil. I wouldn't really be able to argue this if at any point in time Nami had stated, or were given the impression of hope that they would make some sort of resolution with Big Mom, but that was never really a thing. Based on my experience reading One Piece, this aligns oh so well with the plot twist that Big Mom is actually a friend in the future. But anyway, if you're going to connect on my theories here, as I talked about very recently, I think it's very possible that Bobbin, using his hypnosis powers, eventually takes down Big Mom so that she's sleeping. But the problem is, and the problem has always been, that by pissing off Big Mom, you're not only endangering yourself, you're endangering everyone you have ever known. You cannot just run away from that. Even if it's not true, and the possibility is the only thing that exists, you still cannot let that happen. So if Mama goes on a rage, and the Straw Hats don't help her or help the Big Mom Pirates at all, and they just run away, it would be a plot hole, what it would be, unless they headed straight towards the East Blue to rescue Zeph and everyone else that they met along their journey throughout the Grand Line and all of their hometowns. Even if they in some way help the Big Mom Pirates, and Big Mom is in some way incapacitated, and they try and leave quickly after that, the same problem exists. You need some resolution between the conflict of Big Mom and the Straw Hats. As I've said for the longest time, Big Mom must be arrested, killed, or in some way make an arrangement or an agreement with the Straw Hats. Sure, their relationship must change. Else there will be a plot hole, period. There will be a plot hole. There's no way that I can conceive to get around this, but maybe Oda will surprise me. And so with this being the case, Big Mom's death is highly controversial. I personally don't think that she will die, but I find that more likely than her getting arrested. And I find it less likely than her, in some way or another, coming to an agreement with the Straw Hats. And so many people say, how is this even possible? Even in the last chapter, Big Mom hates the Straw Hats. There is no way that she would ever forgive them. And that honestly might be true if it were not possible for Mother Carmel to appear in Whole Cake Island. You best believe I'm clinging to this idea because this allows for so much. Big Mom even said this earlier in the arc when Prometheus and Zeus were sort of curious as to why Big Mom wasn't more angry about what Luffy had said to her, and she said, "I'm not gonna let that little punk provoke me. I have wedding cake and Germa's military might to look forward to. Today I can forgive anything." I wonder what she would be able to forgive if this was the day that Mother Carmel decided to return. If Mother Carmel told Big Mom to forgive the Straw Hats, what would Big Mom do? Based on the story as I'm reading it, Big Mom would do whatever Carmel asked of her. And all the while she would be in a forgiving mood in the first place because of the joy of having to get to see Carmel again. And so again, this would not be Mother Carmel, this would be Brûlé using her abilities in a mischievous way, but still it makes it possible. And so why would they do this in the first place? What would give them this knowledge? Well, Stroizen knows what happened in Big Mom's past, and Pudding has the ability to look into Big Mom's memories. And I really expect to get several comments basically saying that this is ridiculous. How would Big Mom even believe this? Well, Big Mom is also painted to be an idiot. And so it seems incredibly likely for her to overlook the things that would make this seem unbelievable. And if you're looking for an answer as to why the Big Mom Pirates would do this in the first place, it would be because potentially the Straw Hats may be able to cure Big Mom of her rage. Or at the very least give them information on how to better control her condition. Or maybe the act of saving Whole Cake Island from Big Mom in and of itself is enough to warrant this. And so you may also ask, why would Brûlé do this? She hates the Straw Hats. Why would she do anything to help them? Well, Brûlé is in a precarious situation herself, having essentially been helping the Straw Hats in the first place ruin Mama's tea party. I think that at this point she may believe that her life is in danger. So in recreating Mother Carmel and the possibilities the recreation of Mother Carmel offers would also provide salvation for Brûlé herself. And depending on who actually gets transformed into Mother Carmel, my money is on Pudding, then there can be other resolutions for Big Mom's character as well, which is that Pudding specifically wants Big Mom to forgive Lola. And so all she needs to do is, as Mother Carmel, tell Big Mom to forgive Lola, and this also seems very possible. It's just oh so important that Pudding is discontent with how Whole Cake Island is currently. So if in any way she gets transformed into Mother Carmel, it's also worth noting that with her third eye powers, which I've speculated might have illusion abilities based on the lore of the third eye in general, so she herself could potentially transform into Mother Carmel regardless of Brulee's abilities if, you know, a lot of things can change. Pudding specifically did not seem too keen on the massacre of the Vinsmokes. Maybe she, as Mother Carmel, tells Big Mom that this kind of behavior should not be tolerated. And so why exactly would the Big Mom Pirates as a whole be okay with someone like Pudding essentially controlling Big Mom is because they themselves are afraid of her rage. There's two sides to Big Mom, the part that they love and the part that they don't. And if there's any way to sort of calm her down, like for instance a stern talking to by Mother Carmel, then I think that they would be for that. And so guys, you don't have to believe this. This honestly just makes a lot of sense to me. But you must acknowledge that something like this is possible, and while it's possible, so many other things become possible. It's absolutely game-changing. But anyway guys, I could go on forever, but we'll go ahead and stop here. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and why. We're gonna actually do this for the first time. This will be fun. If you actually made it to this part in the video, comment hashtag Big Mom for Nakama. That's completely a joke, but I just want to see how many people actually made it to this part in the video. If you made an early comment, go ahead and edit your post, because I want to see how many people comment with hate who didn't even actually watch it to the end. But yeah guys, that's pretty much all I got for you today. So subscribe if you haven't, like the video, dislike the video, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.